Hello everybody, MD Polo here. Thank you for joining me. On the table today we take a look at the USP 45 from HK. It is a pistol that I've been wanting for quite some time, but I never found one locally. I'm not a fan of ordering online. I like to get my hands on the pistol, feel it, see if it's exactly what I wanted, and also, and most importantly, I like to support local businesses. So I walked into my local gun shop here, Point Blank in Carmel, Indiana, and sure enough, there it was, USP 45. Now, I have to tell you, it was the dirtiest pistol that I've ever owned. I don't know if the previous owner just shot the heck out of it and just never cleaned it, although it looked to be in pretty good shape as far as the parts, but it was just so dirty. So I took it home with the hope that I could clean it up and buff it out and I would end up with a good pistol. And sure enough, as you can see in front of you, everything cleaned out really, really nice. So I'm going to get into the specifics, give you some details overall. I'm going to give you the specifics, that's what I meant, of where it came from, its development, take a look at the pistol itself, and then give you my final thoughts. I'll put a timestamp below because I tend to give you pistols that I'm very interested in. So my videos tend to be about 20 minutes or more. So I'll give you a timestamp so you can jump around if that's what you wish to do. The USP 45, of course, is a 45 ACP pistol. It has a 4.41 inch polygonal barrel inside of it. It has a mag capacity of 12+1. And I've been told, or I've seen, that some people have actually put 14 in the mag instead of 12, and that it's functioned reliably. So if that is true, I'm not saying that that's what you should be doing at all, but what I'm saying is that I have seen it done. But 14+1 in this pistol, it is absolutely very, very nice. It weighs 34.8 ounces, loaded with 12+1, and it came at an MSRP of $1,029. But used, you can find it from $850 to $900 if you can find it. And of course, everything is going to depend on local pricing and condition of the pistol. Now, when you look at it, it comes in the regular HK box. Let me put this aside for 1 second. And I love that when you get this, it just feels good. But it came with nothing in it, and that is a trademark of the USP. You get the gun, you get 1 or 2 mags, I've heard both things, and that's it. And that is because HK spends all of its development and their development money in developing a fantastic firearm instead of providing you with all kinds of gadgets and holsters and fiber optic rods and all this stuff that if you need it you can get yourself. They put all their money into the development of the pistol. It was originally designed for the American market, and USP stands for Universal Self-Loading Pistol. The 45 ACP model was released in May of 1995, although the concept for the original USP began in late 1989. The USP was originally designed around the 40 Smith & Wesson cartridge and was offered to the public in 1993. You can also get this pistol, in addition to the calibers I just mentioned, you can also get it in .357 SIG. Now let me walk you around this for a little bit, and the pistol has been safety checked, although there is a snap cap in there. You're going to see it right there. But so what HK does is they just absolutely torture test the heck out of these pistols, and that is because they were originally offered for military use. They were designed for military use, and the torture test not only passed the complete US and NATO military trials, but also the extensive torture testing from HK. And it all was geared for durability, accuracy, and reliability under extreme weather conditions. Prior to its release, the HK tested the USP with 20,000 rounds of +P 45 ACP, and it ran flawlessly. After that, in order to try to induce a catastrophic failure, they fired 6,000 rounds of what's called proofing rounds. And for those of you that don't know a proofing round, There are rounds that are loaded to much higher pressures, and their purpose is to try to induce a catastrophic failure. So after 20,000 rounds of plus P, then 6,000 rounds of the proving rounds, it just kept on ticking. Show you the front, and I know we all know that it's unloaded now, and I'm not pointing it at myself. So if that wasn't enough, then what HK did is they shoved a bullet, just the bullet, the tip, the projectile, into the barrel, then inserted a mag with a plus P, 45 ACP, 1 round, and they fired it. And what they wanted to see is if a live cartridge fired with a bullet in the barrel, what would happen to the gun? Would that make it explode, cause a catastrophic failure? And it did not. It just kept on ticking. It did not cause any reliability issues or lack of accuracy or anything else. It was a pistol that was designed for special forces and with the input of the the military and also law enforcement. Taking a look at the controls here, then we'll get a little bit more detail, but the controls of the pistol as well as the grip angle were greatly influenced by the 1911. Everything is just where it needs to be. A lot of people believe that Glock was first to market with the polymer pistols, but actually it is something that HK beat him to the punch quite some time before, and that was with the HK VP70 and the P9 pistols. And then of course Glock came along and just brought the polymer to the masses. Taking a look at the slide, starting from top to bottom. Let's see, I'm trying to play with the light here, so bear with me a second. I've got a new lighting system that is just giving me the biggest headaches in the world, giving me all kinds of hot spots, as you can see there, so I'm trying to play with it, bear with me. So the slide is milled out of a solid piece of nitrocarburized steel. It is corrosion resistant, and it has what HK calls their hostile environment coating. It is blued finish, and this hostile environment coating is not just on the slide. It is on everything inside and outside that is metal. On top, you're going to find night sights. They're true dot night sights. Although you can also get, because they're dovetailed in, you can replace them, and you can get Trichicon. Trichicon makes a set that is specifically made for the USP large frame. See if it works a little bit better there. There we go. I'm not sure if you can tell, but the rears are actually like a yellow-orange, and the front is green. No, the front's not going to show up green, but so it's the same setup that SIG has on their M17, where you have orange in the back and you got green in the front, or yellow in the front. I just said that backwards. You got yellow and green. Okay. So, nice. You got the ledge, metal sights, of course. You got serrations in the back, no serrations in the front, which is fine. The serrations work perfectly fine. The slide tells you a lot about your pistol as far as HKs are concerned. And again, I'm learning about this, so bear with me if I'm misrepresenting something. But on the slide itself, where it says HK USP, as you can see, the USP is a roll mark and the HK is a laser engraving, laser printed. The older USPs, it would say HK USP, and both were rolled marked like this. They would look exactly like this, but HK USP. Then the newer ones, it is laser printed with a roll mark. So this is obviously not one of the older ones. Then as you move further down the line, you can see the AG, which is the date code. This was made in 2006. And you can go to HK and they got the charts on the date codes you can find there. This little antler thingy, I don't know the name of it specifically, but it represents that it was made in a factory in Germany. And then when you get to the next to it here, you're going to have the serial number here, and it is preceded by a number 25 in this case. 25, there's a whole sheet of codes for HK that designates the caliber of the pistol next to the serial number, followed by the serial number. So 25 in this case is for the USP 45. It also includes the full size, the expert, the tactical, and the match. If you had a 23, the 23 would be for the Mark 23. Then if you had a USP 40 full size, it would say 22 and followed by the serial number. And if you have a USP 9mm, it'll say 24 dash followed by the serial number. So there's a whole page of codes for USP, but that's what that is all about. Looking around the other side, thankfully there are no billboards all over this thing telling you be careful, this gun will fire if you press the trigger, things like that. It just tells you about HK, made in Germany, and there's really nothing else besides the marks that we just spoke about. It's got a very heavy duty extractor, and typical HK and other European manufacturers, serial numbers are also on the barrel as well as on the pistol and other parts of the gun as well. Now to disassemble this, and I'm going to try to do this around the tripod, you see here we're going to, the slide release, the slide lock, you're going to see this little notch right here. We're going to line them up like that. Yep. And then just push the button from the other side like that. Then it's still a little bit tough. There you go. And it comes out. We need to put a little bit more oil on there. And then the slide just comes right out very smoothly. You don't have to press the trigger or anything. And remove the recoil spring, and the barrel comes right out. So taking a look at the inside there, everything is just very well machined, solid like a tank. You can see it's had some wear, but there's no way for even guessing how many rounds are through this thing, but I don't see a lot of wear on it. The barrel on it, as we said before, is 4.41 inches and has a highly polished feed ramp. That took a lot of work to get that to show polished again, but there is the polygonal rifling. Need to do a better job of cleaning that. Let's see if it'll focus. No, it's not going to give it to me, but there it is. And this is just, it's cannon grade steel. But this is, the polygonal rifling is not what HK originally came out with for the USP. And they switched to the polygonal, it came out with just standard rifling, and they changed to the polygonal rifling, if I could speak today, in 1994. The USP, of course, is a Browning modified type action, and it has a special patented recoil reduction system. And you can see it here in the guide rod. Of course, it's a metal guide rod, and it's captive, and it's got this outer spring that is full length, and then with a little shock absorber buffer here and another spring, a much heavier spring, all bunched up in there underneath the outer spring. So it just helps not only with the outer spring take the shock, the inertia of the slide going backward, but then you got the second spring that it helps mitigate the recoil. And the nice thing about this, that is not ammo specific. You can pretty much shoot anything you want to 45 ACP through this pistol, and this recoil reduction system will work as well. And is actually the same recoil reduction spring, guide rod and spring that is in the battle-proven Mark 23. Now looking at the frame has got the corrosion-resistant polymer frame, which is stiffened with steel inserts in the areas that HK designated that are the most subject to stress and wear. You can actually see it in there. My finger and the lovely hot spot will get out of the way, and also in the polymer rails you see the steel inserts. Everything is very well done. This is a variant 1, and there's, I believe, 10 different variants that HK makes of trigger combinations and safeties and where the safety is located. And again, there's a chart on that. But here you can see that it's got an external safety right there. It's not ambidextrous, but you can flip it, or you can get it for about $70. You can get the ambi safety. It's also a decocker, so you can carry it on safe right there, and then the trigger is dead, or you can put it on fire and just fire away, or you can pull it down and you decock it like that. And one of the things that they talk about is the decock smile, just like with the 1911s where you get the idiot mark right here when you reassemble it and you scratch it. In the HKs with a variant 1 with a decocker, you can see here, you can start to form that little like half moon line right here. Well, they call it the decocker smile. So if it's a pistol that has been used a lot and the decocker feature has been used a lot, the lever here, then you'll start to create more and more and more of a line there. So this hasn't been used very much with a decocker. That doesn't mean the firearm hasn't been shot very much, but at least the decocker hasn't been used very much. It's a very, very sturdy polymer frame, very well done, and it doesn't feel cheap in your hand. When you hold it, it doesn't feel cheap, it just feels good. Recently, and again, I'm going to the opposite side of the spectrum, but I just recently handled a Taurus G3C, I believe it was, and when you hold it, it just feels cheap. The polymer just feels cheap. This one doesn't. Following on the grip, you've got the texture, very nice texturing. Is not as aggressive as an MNP 2.0, but is definitely enough to keep the gun in place. Is not going to go anywhere. You got checkering in the back, checkering, the same type of checkering in the front. It is not aggressive in the type of a style of a P10C as far as going to leave major marks for 2 days after you hold the pistol, but it's going to hold it. The trigger guard is very large. As you can see, I've got medium-sized hands, and I got so much room here. If you got gorilla hands and gloves on top of that, you're still going to have plenty of room. You got the HK little hump there that it is in most of their pistols, and you do have ribbing in the front of the trigger guard. The mag release is very positive and is the paddle style. I wish it was a little bit bigger, but you can change those if you want. They do sell them, and HK does sell others. It is ambidextrous, and I really, really like it. I also have it on my HK VP9, and I love the way it works. I don't have to break my grip, to get to it. I can just move my trigger finger down like this. If I need to, I can go with my thumb, but it's a lot easier to go like this or with my middle finger like that. But very nice. I love the grip. It is big, but it is doesn't feel blocky to me like a Glock does. There's something about it, maybe more rounded on the back, but it just feels really, really good in my hand. So putting it back together, so we can take a look at the trigger. It's just reversed. The barrel goes in. The recoil spring goes in like this. You can see that little hook right there goes down and goes into the barrel. There you go. Make sure it's centered. Then the gun goes back on the rails. I'm looking at the gun, not the camera, so I'm not sure if I'm in focus. And then bring that notch back to the circle right there. Push it through and test for function, and there we go. So very easy to reassemble. Let me put the snap cap back in. There we go, snap cap, bracket, and let's take a look at the trigger. As I mentioned, it is a double action, single action, and it is a combat trigger if I've ever felt one. It is a long and beefy 11.5 pound pull in double action. So starting from here, double action, pull, 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 still pulling, gets harder actually, harder, 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 and there's your break. I mean, that is a long, heavy, you know what, trigger. Then the reset. It is actually nice. It is a little bit longer than I like, but remember, this is a combat pistol. So you go out, there. It's not very hard, but you definitely feel it and you definitely hear it. And then on the way back, a little bit of creep, you're at the wall there, break the wall, and the trigger goes. So it's definitely a combat trigger. It is not a bullseye trigger, but the nice thing about it is when you actually go to the reset and you fire, it's just the sights don't move. And even in double action, when you pull, that was me doing it around the tripod, but it's very easy to keep the sights lined up. The mag release, we talked about how it is paddle style here, and looking at it from down here, you can see the trigger guard is flared here to give you even added protection to the trigger. But the mag release, it is very positive. Boom, they just fly out of there. Even upside down, it just pops out. Now the mags, you can get them with, they're available with the flat base plate or with a pinky rest. Now my hand is not long enough to even get to the pinky rest, and it only came with one mag, but you can buy others, and they're about $45, $45 to $50 for the HK additional mags. So there it is, HK USP 45. I really like to hear your thoughts. Did I represent it correctly? Did I misspeak somewhere regarding the history or things about HK? Because I know there's a lot of people that are very, very knowledgeable about HK. But I can tell you this is probably the most over-engineered pistol that I've ever owned. It is built literally like a tank. I mean, it's got cannon-grade steel in it, in the barrel. But at the same time, it's one of the softest shooting pistols in 45 ACP that I've ever had the pleasure of firing. Although I haven't shot this one specifically, I have shot several other USP 45s. It is a soft shooting 45. And it is accurate, it is durable, and my plan was to bring you some range footage of this, but due to the current environment, and really I'm having problems finding 45 ACP ammo. I'm not sponsored by any ammo company, so that'll have to wait, but I promise in the future I will show you some range footage of this. The recoil reduction system that I showed you inside of the USP 45, it just works wonders. You really feel it at work, especially if you put plus P rounds through it. So if you're looking for a bullseye gun, this is not it. If you're looking for a CCW pistol, this may not be it unless you're a really big guy and find a way to conceal something like that. But for what it was designed to do, which is a go-to-war pistol that will take any environment, will fire it anywhere you want to fire it, underwater, in the ocean, whatever you can throw at this, it will take it. And it'll just smile back at you and say, "Is that all you got, Daddy?" And you're gonna have to look at it back at it and say, "Yep, that's all I had." What do you think about it? I love this pistol. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for spending time with me. And please remember that I load videos every Friday morning and when I can on Wednesday mornings as well. I'm very active on Instagram, and if you'd like to see what's coming down the pipeline before it hits YouTube, and there are some things that I don't show on YouTube that I do show on Instagram, please consider stopping by over there and give me a follow. Thank you very much again for stopping by, and until the next time, God bless.